Hello, everyone. I'm Obsidia. I am the DM of the upcoming live play D&D campaign, Nexus Forlorn Legacy. And today we're doing the first of the origin sessions of each of the player characters. So with me here today is Lily, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, hello. My name is Lily. I am not really a streamer, but I do drawings on Twitter and Tumblr, and I love playing D&D with my friends. So really excited to be playing my darling little sheep girl, Aurora, in this both this origin session and for the whole campaign to come.
Excellent. Thank you, Lily. We're very excited to get to delve into Aurora's background and some of the what led her to session one. So without further ado, Aurora, it's your big day as you wake up. What do you do?
I imagine she just kind of like takes a moment. She's not really a quick riser in any way, shape, or form. Uh, she kind of treats life very laissez-faire in a lot of ways, but not necessarily because she should, but more so because she wants to. So, just kind of looking around her room, you can see that there's the most important feature of the room is the desk, which is covered in different colors of paint. There's a bunch of like easels and other art supplies that she uses all the time, as well as some work in progresses and much more. So as she kind of gets up, she probably looks over at them and just kind of like smiles, just feeling very confident as she heads into the day, knowing that what she has put together is without a doubt her best work yet. So as she gets up, gets dressed, gets herself all put together, and just kind of grabs her little paintbrush, which is kind of like a not. She has multiple paintbrushes, of course, but the one that she keeps with her at all times is more so like a little cane that has a bit of a feather brush at the top. To that she kind of walks around with a bit.
Aw.
She herself is a pink, like sheep-like satyr, with rainbow, like sort of. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on what those are called. Little like side braids, um, that she dyes herself. But other than that, she is a bit plus size, so a bit of a tummy going on. But and she's got the nice sparkly red glasses.
Awesome. As you head downstairs, you see your pink, fluffy-headed satyr father with his little pink goatee and mustache, currently kind of springing about your kitchen, putting things away from making breakfast. He also has set up a breakfast for you to start your day, knowing full well how you sleep and how you wake up. As your other father, a tall half elf man with a clean shaven face and a large pair of glasses, sits at the table, currently finishing his coffee and reading a newspaper as he looks up and goes, "Oh, Rainbow, happy to have you finally join us. I almost thought you were going to sleep through your big day."
You know, I wouldn't sleep through something like this. I just, I'm not about to make myself all nice and pretty too quickly. So I just, it's just a normal day. That's how I like to look at it, at least. I'm surprised neither of you two are at the store yet.
The satyr kind of perks up and goes, "Oh, well, I decided that we would have a bit of a late start today because we wanted to make sure that everything was good and ready for you to go off for your assessment. It's not every day that our little girl finally gets to become a big fancy wizard."
Oh, it's nothing that big. Uh, I know. I guess maybe I should put a bit more pressure on myself, but I do appreciate it, Danny's, that you'll be so kind.
The half elf kind of chuckles for a bit, goes, Rowan, you know that you can't be so accommodating to her. She's a grown girl, and soon she's gonna be a fancy mage making them big bucks and living a life of high rolling mystique.
High rolling mystique, would you look at me, Daddy? I'm not exactly the high rolling mystique kind of gal, but I mean, I know the extra funds would help us out a lot here, so I'll do my very best.
And the satyr Rowan starts, springs over and like does a little straightening of your braids, your pigtails, and
Daddy, it's fine.
well, you know how I feel about you, little rainbow. I want to make sure you're looking your best. I I don't want you to feel any pressure. Despite what Elias says, you got no reason to be, having any level of concern because you just the greatest little thing that ever came to our town, and you gonna go to the big city and you just gonna dazzle them. And I know that to my deepest core that my little girl has so much potential that assessor would have to be blind to not be able to see it.
Oh, she's gonna give him like a very tight squeeze back. You always were my biggest cheerleader.
And he squeezes you back too, as Elias playfully rolls his eyes at the table and gets up and gives you
you
a
should come
hug.
over for the hug too.
I know. I won't. Don't leave me in the cold here. As he goes in, he's much taller than either of you, and so he kind of scoops you both up. By comparison, you're all of the little hooves, dangling in the wind. He goes, all right, now you should eat quickly. You gotta remember we got your train ticket all set up. To take you to Tardiviv.
Yeah, I know. It's 11:45 is the departure, and we still got at least. And she just thinks about it for a second. I think I got at least about an hour to make it over there. It's only a 30-minute walk, so not too bad.
I just want you to be mindful. I know that you could be a bit elongated when it comes to your father's cooking.
It's not my fault he's such a good cook. Why wouldn't we savor every meal?
Exactly, Elias. Why don't you savor every meal as much as our daughter does?
I mean, just look at this darling man here, your husband, gesturing towards Rowan.
And Elias kind of goes, all right. Well, I know you're going to do great, Rainbow, and, I know this is a big deal for everyone here, and I know that you're going to be incredible, and don't forget about us when you become a big fancy wizard. We still love you, even if we're a bunch of provincial yokels by comparison.
I didn't choose to be a mage. It just kind of happened. So ain't nothing gonna change the fact that I'm still just a small town girl.
And they both laugh and hug you again, give you a smooch on the forehead. And you are free to nom a big hearty breakfast, real country breakfast.
Lots of eggs, some bacon maybe.
Yep.
Classic.
Some potatoes and toast. It's got the whole this real stick to your guts kind of food.
Hell yeah. So she'll finish that up. Go to the door and just kind of give a little kick and just say, "Well, I'll be off then."
All right, we'll be waiting for you. We're gonna have a big party. We'll just celebrate your your accolades, and we're gonna go get a cake and everything. It's gonna be great. So don't worry, we'll make sure that you're properly fed. I know that those, in Tanavib, they may have a bit more of a light and demure style of eating, but here, well, we know how to eat.
That we do. She'll kind of like pat her tum a little bit.
And we'll give you one last hug and kiss for the road. And with that, you can safely head out into your small provincial town, which the biggest like landmark in it is really the Mage Rail system, which is a very much kind of like a maglev style rail that uses runic plates, basically, much like lightning rail in Eberron, to magically, project trains forward and backwards across the various runic rail lines that crisscross the country of Iryxia that you reside in. So, as you get there, there's, a fair amount of laborers, basically taking things off of one of these massive, slightly hovering trains, various supplies and goods, putting others on. You're not from a mining town, so there isn't necessarily any Nexite being transported, but it's still a large enough hub of other resources to support the neighboring mining towns that they still have a train station set up here for that.
Yeah, I imagine, even though anything that her father's said, she is just kind of like, there's definitely a bit of like a little bit of a demure expression that she has on, just like kind of walking through the town. Like she knows that she's kind of a big deal, but she really kind of also doesn't like that she's a big deal. Like the fact that she is a mage and that's rare has always been something that she's kind of like, proud of, but also not wanting to bring too much attention to.
Yeah.
So just very much like, as much as a person that is pink with rainbow hair can like
can lay
make
low.
herself small, she would do.
Yeah, lots of people, you're not from a big town, but so the people who do see you, they all wave and say good luck and everything as they see you pass. Your attempts to maintain a low profile fail miserably in your small town.
It's understandable. It's a small town.
And with that, you can show the attendant at the station your ticket that was paid for by the Arcane Conclave of Iryxia to have you go to your mage assessment. And has our little satyr ever been on Mage Rail before?
I like to think she has, maybe once.
Okay.
Just as like her father's probably took her like on a little getaway maybe once as like a big deal trip, but it was actually just like going from like, I don't know, like Boston to like New York or something, where it's actually like not that far.
Yeah, I gotcha. So yeah, this is your first time going solo then. You're given what is the equivalent of an economy class ticket, and as a few dozen other people load up onto the train, you eventually hear the doors close, and the climate secured spells activate throughout the machine, as over the speakers you hear, "All aboard! Mage Rail to Tarnaviv! Mage Rail to Tarnaviv! All aboard!" And with that, you feel the light G-forces push against you for a moment as the train begins to glide forward, picking up speed. As you are able to peacefully look out at the rolling countryside outside of your town, And we'll say Tarnaviv it's a few hours train ride away from your hometown. And, the first 2 or so hours are fine. But once you get to hour 3, you begin to see the landscape, in the distance, you see what is, you've been familiar with, like, the cooking fires and stuff that comes out of chimneys and everything in your town, but you've never seen them so large in the distance. Like over a hill, you just see that there's probably dozens of these smoke pillars rising out. And you hear, the very faint, like, crackling of fireworks, maybe, as you might see a crater or two past the various rail lines. But this far out, it still seems like it's a very far away place. You know that this is very likely the sounds of the war in the distance between Iryxia and the United Federation of Allied States that's been occurring for the last few years. And as you see, sorry, go.
I was just gonna add a little flavor. And it's
Yep.
like I imagine as like the sounds of the war kind of begin to come in, she's just kind of gonna keep her mind occupied and just as the arcane rail like continues along, she's just going to like be silently muttering to herself as like the train shifts and changes, just being like abjuration. Like as like to for when it's like kind of bracing for a turn
Mhm.
as it has propulsion, it's like evocation, just kind of like muttering to herself like what is making this train work, just very much in tune with like what makes spells.
Gotcha. Yeah, as you run through that game, you're able to easily dismiss illusion. uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, you kind of chuckle to yourself as you say illusion, and you get about halfway through the word when you see another train coming from the opposite direction, in basically coming from the area where the smoke and fire works are coming from, and you see it, gliding along. Except this one is very up armored by comparison. It's got lots of magically reinforced steel plates on it. Various warding spells have been runically inscribed along the side. You see that there are several what appear to be various like machine gun emplacements on it, and just it's practically bloated with people that are covered in bandages, dozens of them missing limbs, some just kind of laying limply in the laps of other soldiers. They're wearing the red and blue uniforms of Iryxia, except a lot of the red has been stained black and a lot of the blue has been stained red, as they kind of give a very dispassionate thousand-yard stare either into the ether or looking absent-mindedly at your train heading towards Tarnaviv. And you obviously don't think any of them are actually looking at you, but you do have this incredible weight of you swear you're being watched, and as they pass by your sight, and once the various wounded soldiers disappear, the cars that are just racks of what appear to be fairly rudimentary caskets that have been draped with blue and red flags to symbolize the various dead proceed behind them, and they're seemingly drastically outnumbered from the cars carrying the wounded.
I imagine just seeing this, she's probably familiar with what the caskets look like at this point. It's not that she and her family has had anyone pass. She's an only child, and her fathers are obviously doing all right. But just in a small provincial town like that she comes from, like there's probably many families that have had that delivered to them, and people talk in a small town. So there's definitely this like knowing, grim feeling that just kind of settles in her of just like, I hate this. I hate this so fucking much. Please just let this be over.
Yeah, as the dread settles in, just as quickly the train continues past you and flowing into a different direction, to presumably to be processed in some way. And you see the glimmering lights of what is one of the biggest cities you've ever seen. It's the provincial capital of your province, Tarnaviv, where the local high magisters are stationed managing the various regions and towns of the province, and where your assessment is going to take place. It seems to be a bastion of civilization after what you just witnessed, and it is the skyline and lights are pristine and untouched by comparison. As you finally roll into the station and the people disembark, you find yourself in the big city. There is, you have to report to the Arcane Hall where your assessment will take place.
I imagine she has memorized the maps at this point. Like she knows basically every street of this city, even though she's never like really spent much time as, she's only, I think at this point in the timeline, I think she's like just about 18. But just try and just immediately, without even thinking, kind of makes a beeline towards where she knows it is, and just keeps her head down and is just holding very tightly onto her what she brought with her, which is her portfolio.
Gotcha. Yeah, as you weave through the town, you see that they're plastered on various buildings are recruitment posters showing brave mages standing alongside lines of soldiers, triumphantly driving back caricatures of the Federation's armies and stuff, and saying rise up to defend Iryxia from tyranny, unite for our livelihood, etc. And people seem to just be going about their lives. Some people are a bit, perhaps thinner than you see out in the country, as various food stores and stuff have been more depleted here. You even see a conscription sergeant going to a couple apartment buildings, and he's holding a big stack of papers, and as he leaves, he comes out with maybe 6 or so men and women about your age, looking a kaleidoscope of kind of nervous, concerned, excited, etc., as he seems to be making rounds throughout the town. You do see a couple dozen conclave guard marching towards the train that you just got off of. Their rifles slung over their shoulders, kind of chatting with each other. These guys are in what looks to be still new uniforms. They look very fresh-faced, very excited, and you're able to weave past all of this as you head to the large, what looks to be a very intentionally stylized off of what would be a medieval castle designed by wizards from the 1930s. It's kind of how you have neo-baroque, it's kind of like that, yeah. Except it's neo-Arthurian. as it has, just the big, banners of the Arcane Conclave hanging off of it, and is much nicer looking than many of the surrounding stores and apartments you've seen. And there is a group of, very stern armored guards outside of it, standing at attention.
I think she would probably just like, even though she's very certain of that she's in the right place, given how big it is just gonna walk up and say, excuse me, I'm here to take my mage assessment. So, do I just go in the big doors up there?
The one of the guards kind of looks down at you and then looks further down to actually where you are. Since you're a little sheepy.
Yeah, I don't think I mentioned she's like 4'10", 4'11".
Gotcha. Yeah, she's just a little gal. As the guard kind of, stands at, a prompt attention and goes, "Ah, welcome, future Magister. It is an honor to see you. You may proceed inwards. We will just have to review your documentation very quickly so we know where to send you."
Oh, yeah, no, of course. She'll just kind of like reach into her bag and pull out like all of the documents, which I also have like extra copies just in case. So, here you go, and just hands the documents to him.
The guard looks him over and goes, "Excellent, a well-prepared wizard is always a good sign of our nation's future." Everything you see. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Let's go, Rixia.
The other guard kind of just like snickers a bit as the main guard kind of frowns and finishes looking at the paper and then hands it back to you and goes, "All right, miss, you may enter. Proceed to the second door on the right. You will be guided to the High Magister's office to begin your assessment. He is expecting you."
Right, I'll be on my way then. Thank you for your service.
He kind of nods and then opens the door for you.
I'll just walk on through.
Yep. As you get into the hall itself, it is very well appointed. There is all kinds of illusionary projections of like the history of the conclave on the wall. Like, who needs tapestries when you can just have magical fucking videos playing? And you see that there are like projecting portraits of each of the seven the seven high archmagisters that manage it. Each, or wait, are there 8? I forgot how many schools of magic there are.
Oh gosh,
I think it's 8, maybe.
I think it's 8. But
there are as many high archmagisters as there are schools of magic posing across it, and you see maybe like a dozen or so what are probably clerks and administrative people, and maybe one or so like full mage, just going around doing office work basically. As you follow the directions the guard gave you, when you see the large gilded double doors, which just read above it the words "assessment chamber."
I think she would just kind of take a moment, take a deep breath, and then kind of like pull out what she has prepared, which is a painting, and just kind of take a look at her notes and just be like, I don't, I'm just say to under her breath, I don't know why I'm looking at these. I've got it all memorized. Oh God. Okay. And just look around and it's just like, do I just like find like a guard or a mage, just be like, I just go in whenever now?
Yes, miss. You were expected. They've already divined that you're here.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Whew, I can do this. All right. And just will sheepishly
Da da
open the
da da
door.
da.
It had to happen.
I know, it was good. It was meant to be. All right.
Yeah, she just pushes the door open.
As you push the door open, you see that this is a very large open room, that the floor is covered in arcane circles and runic symbols, which you don't even need detect magic on. You can see that this room is just like coursing with various protective wards and everything, as there is a single man standing in the center of it, with a series of books floating around him. He is probably about 6 feet tall. He is a large half orc male, with a set of long flowing black hair that has been shaved on one side, and he has a pair of like spectacles across his nose, as he has well manicured fingernails. He has long painted fingernails as he flicks through the various floating books around him before they all snap shut at once, as he then, just very slowly turns his gaze to look at you.
She would immediately bow and just say, hello, Archmagister. My name is Aurora, and I'm here to take the mage assessment.
Ah, you were expected, Miss Aurora. I am High Magister Alexander Neokos, and I will be your proctor for your assessment. I do not need to emphasize to you the importance of this assessment in your future and career. This will determine your relative place within the conclave and the hierarchy of our great nation. You are reminded that you will only be receiving one assessment, and so you are required to do your best. Do you understand, Miss Aurora?
I understand. I feel prepared, so I'm ready to give this a shot.
Excellent. As he mutters a command phrase, you feel the wards kind of pulse into life to a stronger degree, perhaps making it so that the release of magic in this room can be done with a bit more, frivolity than the building would otherwise be able to tolerate. As all of the books then float behind him and set themselves up in a neat little pile, as he looks down at you and goes, "All right, the test is simple. Display your strongest and most capable spells, and I will determine their relative strength and capability. You may begin at any time."
All right. And she'll just kind of go ahead and set her bags down, just like very much to the side of her. And just kind of like open the case, but not like take anything out of it, but just kind of hold on to her little paintbrush cane, and is going to just proceed to talk. So it says, so as we know, there are 8 separate schools of magic and so many different kinds of ways that this magic can manifest. So when we talk about things, we talk about how the magic, like a fireball, everybody knows a fireball, that it can kind of just take that, manipulate it, manipulate the arcana around it, and use it to fire and create a big explosion. So now, what if I told you that there was a way to take that inside of the weave and then manipulate it further to change the chemical and elemental composition of this magic, to be able to take that fireball and maybe make it a ball of lightning or a ball of even corrosive energy. Now, that is possible. And it's very simple when you get down to the brass tacks of it. So I'm when I go ahead and I cast this sigil, and she'll just like as she like sort of like takes her paintbrush and puts it into the air, the sigil draws around it. And I go ahead and I take that and I shift around the runes. I'm able to take that and change how it manifests. So when I do this, it becomes something different. Every spell can be changed because the weave is ever changing. And so when I take this and I put it into practice, what I kind of do, and she reaches into her bag, is and she pulls out a painting with a very like rudimentary composition. Overall, pretty solid skill, but nothing too crazy. But the one thing of note is you can see that both in the sky there is like a thunderstorm with like almost like animated looking features, and underneath is a river with water that is also similarly animated with trees kind of softly blowing in the wind. But as it is all very much like simple composition, not that great, but still pretty solid. It says, so you can see here when I go ahead and draw things like this, what happens is I'm able to manipulate these colors because colors have elemental compositions, and I'm able to make it that um, make it so that I'm able to create something that has never existed before. And when I am able to take that and then put it into the cloud, put it into the rivers, and put it into the forests, it creates this new fantastical element that we've never been able to properly see in this country. So when I talk about what can I do for this, I know how magic works honestly incredibly well, and I think that this deserves some good studies because I think that it is able to well better the lives of everybody. Because I mean, look at how amazing that
He
looks with
raises
the
his hand to cut you off.
uh, yes, sir.
Miss Aurora, have you applied any of these principles to anything beyond your little pictures?
Oh, they're more paintings, but I mean, uh, in some ways, yeah.
Please provide a demonstration of the potential combat applications of your principles in action.
Well, I I'm more so prepared the ability to shift these kinds of things than um in my spell book. It's less so the uh I I don't really think I can do that.
Miss Aurora, are you aware of the current state of our country?
Yes, sir. I'm fully aware.
You know that every day hundreds and thousands of mages stand on the front lines defending our nation from tyranny and invasion and exploitation. Are you aware of that, Miss Aurora?
Um, mm, yeah. There's a lot of people I know, a lot of good people have come home in coffins. So yeah, yes, sir. I know of that.
Miss Aurora, are you aware that how many more of those coffins would be coming home without the brave daily sacrifices of our men and women of the arcane craft?
Well, I mean, but like, I'm not a battlefield mage or anything like that. I just want to advance the study of magic and just like how we can use this to like improve improve country morale and such.
Miss Aurora, I would like to see a direct battlefield application of your principles now. That is the core of your current assessment.
Um, okay. And she'll just kind of sit there for a minute, unsure, and is just going to do her best to kind of manifest a chromatic orb and just like, but as she does so, just kind of very much shaken to her core and is unable to kind of like maintain the magical composition of it after having been questioned and everything. It's just this kind of thing. I know other people can change or can change like the elemental composition of this, but I can also I could do it beyond just the chromatic elements. So I can change this to like to to other things like radiance or necrotic. And
Then
she
do
goes,
such, Miss Aurora.
"Oh, okay, I can." And she just kind of like goes to shoot it, but just completely like whiffs in the wrong direction.
You see him throwing my mouse around. You see him frown as he looks at your display. And Miss Aurora, we are struggling for the very survival of our way of life. And if you are expected to be elevated to that of a full arcanist, you must be able to serve your time on the battle line defending our nation. We do not care about the academic pursuits of this, as he gestures at your painting. This is a luxury for peace and for those who have the time and attention to spend on it. We are going to have to dedicate our lives to defending this country. I do not wish to see the theoretical applications of your abilities. I wish to see your actual applications of your abilities. And so far, you have failed to display even a rudimentary functionality of arcane control that even working under the pretense of your own theories, you have been unable to demonstrate.
Well, sir, I I understand everything that you're saying here, but I I mean, there's plenty of people that work on collecting the books and stuff here. It's an important job, right? So I mean, if you just were to give me some time, I could potentially refine how best to teach others what I can do, uh, and then we can try again.
Miss Aurora, you have barely demonstrated the ability to utilize your own skills, much less be placed in a position to instruct anyone on the use of arcane energy. If you require a suitable master to teach you proper applications of arcane skill to be directed on the battlefield, then I can arrange that. But I will not entertain your notions of somehow sitting back and watching our country burn while you pretend to be able to apply anything you have tried to explain here today.
Um, may I be excused, sir? I I don't really want to be here anymore.
Miss Aurora, this is your final offer. To demonstrate your skill or place yourself at the direct command of a more senior magister for actual battlefield instruction.
I don't want to go on the battlefield. I don't want to take other people's lives. I mean, look at me.
He looks at you as you requested, and a look of just absolute disgust across his face.
I can show you what I can do, but I'm
You've
just
shown me enough, Miss Aurora. You clearly have some understanding of the arcane arts in theory. You have clearly the potential to control something. You just fail to actually apply yourself. You fail to demonstrate any meaningful applications beyond this, as he looks at, he basically telekinetically pulls over your painting and points it out into you. He goes, this, if you're considering it your greatest example of your skills, is a barely functional piece of, dare I say, art. The composition is amateur at best. At most, you've displayed your capability to wield the energy to animate your objects, but that is the true extent of any potential value such a thing possesses. You try to reach beyond your station, beyond your own skills, into worthless endeavors. And with that, he dispels magic on the painting and just disintegrates it in front of you. Miss Aurora.
Sorry, I'd really like.
If you refuse to fight for your country, if you refuse to become a capable magister, well, I have no other choice then. I will remove you from the assessment list, and you will instead receive a conscription notice in the coming days to serve in the Conclave Guard. If you shall not serve as an arcanist, then you shall serve on the firing line. That is all. You are dismissed.
But we went over this. I can't really do that. I'm not built for that kind of thing.
Then I guess you will learn. Guards, escort Miss Aurora from this premises. She is no longer considered a suitable mage potential for assessment. And a pair of Conclave Guard come in and, they stand behind you with their hands on your shoulders, and they're not like throwing you out quite yet, but they are clearly applying pressure to direct you out.
She'll kind of hesitate at first, but then follow along, trying to hold back any tears that she has.
The High Magister starts levitating the books around him once more as he gives one final look at you and goes, "If only you applied yourself, such wasted potential," as he walks away. And with that, you are not literally tossed out, but you are removed from the premises of the Arcane Hall.
She kind of just sits there for a moment and just goes, as she goes to walk out, it's just going to kind of like draw a rune once more and just kind of like do her best to animate the same orb, and is able to do so with like remote control, but it's just like there's a notion in her head that just says fuck it and just leaves.
As you walk away, the scene around you begins to dissolve into various colors and paints. As you then, blink your eyes once more, and you're standing in front of the door to your home back in your town. The lights are on inside, and you can hear your fathers, quietly, talking and giggling to each other.
I think, given everything, she would try to. Well, she would know how to do this, so she would, instead of kind of walking through the door, would probably just use like a small portal to blink herself up to inside of her room. But as she does so, there's definitely a thunk as her hooves land, and it's just kind of gonna go lay on the bed with her face in the pillow.
After a moment, you hear the steps up the stairs to your room, and you hear a knocking on your door as your dad goes, "Oh, Hey, Rainbow. We I don't know why you decided to teleport into there. You know, we got the door unlocked for you. We got the cake downstairs. We're ready to celebrate. We want to hear all about your time in Tarnaviv.
I didn't do it.
What do you mean you didn't do it?
They didn't care about anything I talked about. They just wanted me to show how I could hurt people with what I can do. And I just but that's I mean and she just kind of breaks down.
Can we come in, Rainbow?
And while crying just kind of nods.
All right. Your dad's opened the door and come to you, kind of sitting on your bed next to you, putting a hand on you. Do, do you want to tell us what happened, Rainbow? We're here for you, no matter what.
She'll kind of take a minute, let herself cry for a bit. She basically didn't let herself for the whole train ride home, and just so well. I ran through the speech, the same one I gave to you, multiple times, um, telling them about the ways that I can manipulate the weave and everything. I mean, the whole speech. And they told me to show me how could apply it, and so I showed them the painting that I had worked on. Well, they said it was trash. It was worthless. It was awful, and um, said they asked me about the war and what I knew, and of course, yeah, I mean, we both know everything that's going on, but daddies, they're conscripting me, whether I want to or not. Not as a mage, but just as a person, because apparently I can't even control what I preach. I couldn't do it in front of them after everything, after they tore down all I'd worked on.
Rainbow, I'm so sorry. As your dad kind of hugs you close, and Elias, also hugs you, and just you hear him turning to Rowan and just going, Rowan, we they're going to take our little girl away. We're gonna send her off to. You feel like he was about to say die, but to fight in that war. We we can't subject her to that. I know, but what are we gonna do? How how are we gonna get past this? It's okay, sweetie. We're gonna we'll figure something out. Um, Elias goes. Well, we were saving that money, but I, I've heard that there's ways to get people out of the country without being noticed by the conclave. I You know that Helen had, before they'd lost Stefan, they had paid to get Karina out of here. Maybe maybe she knows somebody we can talk to, and if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. We can get her safely to the Federation, somewhere safely somewhere that she can be herself, away from this madness. Rowan kind of squeezes you. Sweetie, would you like to leave?
Well, don't think I can stay. I mean, I either go to fighting this, or or I leave you two, and I don't want to do that. But I mean, it can't last much longer, right?
They both kind of look at each other. We we don't want it. We don't want our little girl to be in there no matter how long it lasts. And if it means protecting you, we'll give up everything we have. We'll work twice as hard to get any money that's needed for it. We'll keep you safe. That's that's what parents are for.
And she just kind of cries again and just hugs them both tightly and just says, I'm sorry. I couldn't do what you guys wanted me to do. I know this was gonna set you up for good things too, but I couldn't even do that. Now now you're gonna now you're gonna take this risk for me. I, I don't know how I can, but I promise one day I'll be back to help make things better.
Don't worry, Rainbow. We will always be here. We will always do everything we can to protect you. All that matters is that we can keep you safe. Yeah, and then if we can keep you safe, we will. Let us step in. Little lamb, we got you. Got nothing to worry about. Just today's just one bad day, but we'll move past it as a family. We'll move past it together, and don't ever have to think about trying to come back and help us. I know that this will end, and we'll come visit you, and well, everything will be happily ever after.
I'll send you letters.
With that, the candles on the cake downstairs begin to melt and fade away as the room around you begins to dissolve into color and smearing paint as the faces of your fathers and the room that you've spent your whole life in begin to become vague and dissolving. When you find yourself, kind of disassociating on the streets of a major city in Tyrol, one of the 7 nations of the United Federation of Allied States. You've been here, you recall, for a couple weeks now, and you're staying at a small hostel near the docks where you came in from the ship from Iryxia that you've been able to get smuggled out of. And as you stand seeing the street lamps click on as the electricity surges through it and some cars drive by, just some random man kind of bumps into you as seemingly he wasn't looking up as you've just been standing there in the street. And, it kind of mutters something at you and then, moves around you. What do you do? What's been going through your mind?
So she's kind of been, trying to work any sort of job essentially, but has overall not really been able to find much success with it. Um, she, at this point, is probably running pretty low on any art supplies, but is kind of just has been attempting to go to like different nobles' houses to see if they would be willing to buy any of her art, and probably experienced mostly just people saying rude things or turning her away just given her status as a refugee from Iryxia in this place. And it's just kind of just feeling quite lost as she's unable to get her foot in the door in any situation that she wants to.
Yeah, you've been experiencing, despite the the things you've heard about the great opportunities available for any mages that were willing to flee Iryxia and help speed along the peace process by ending the war that much sooner. They've led to very little since arriving in the Federation, and it's been very isolating. A lot of people, when they hear that you're Iryxian, they mutter some things, especially with that you are an Iryxian mage. There's a lot of sentiment that some low-key racism about it.
Because the war is still going on at this point, right?
Yep. The war is still going on. So it's been probably about a month since you fled, and all the your father's scraped together some gold for you, but it is depleting faster than you thought it would as the opportunities don't manifest. And frankly, you're kind of exhausted after another day of figurative doors being shut in your face by the various nobles present trying to find artistic opportunities or any meaningful work.
I would imagine the one thing she's sort of holding on to is she was able to get an appointment to at least try to get into a local art school. So as she sort of just continues to, the dread continues to set in of, this could potentially not work. That's what she holds on to as the one hope. But as she does, she's reminded of the words of the High Magister, and that everything she does is not good enough. Her art, her magic, it's just all worthless. And so, just kind of going ahead and taking a moment, she gets ready to sleep in the hostel. Just thinks about I just need to be good enough on that day.
Gotcha. Yeah, as you return to the hostel and lay in your very plain bed, your eyes become heavier as you think about how you need to be good enough for this application. You just really need to be good enough. And as sleep seemingly sneaks up on you, you slowly open your eyes, and you're in a world that is entirely grayscaled. It appears to be some kind of lecture room with what appears to be blank canvases strewn across it, a blackboard on one wall with several pieces of white chalk. You seem to be the only thing that's actually colorful in this room. All the chairs are empty, and the desks are seemingly been never used before. As you look around and you see that there is a figure on the other side of the room, leaning against a desk. She is a tall, especially compared to you, woman wearing what appears to be a straining pencil skirt, blouse, and jacket as they cling to her curves. Her hair is pulled up into a bun that's held in place by a silver hairpin. On one side is what appears to be a stylized wing. On the other side is a actual, amethyst, purple amethyst gem, which is also producing light. And her hair sweeps over one of her eyes. The remaining eye is a languid, violet cat's eye that is slowly rolling to look over at you. And as she does so, her full, black made-up lips begin to slowly part and extend into a smile, revealing porcelain white teeth and long extended canines. As she kind of looks over at you and goes, "Why, hello, little lamb."
Am I dead?
Oh, no, little lamb, you are not yet dead. No reason to worry.
Oh, okay. I think I got that. You're considering at least you don't look like Terminus or any of the Ravens.
She, for a moment, her kind of smile cracks a bit when you mention Termina before it, pops back into place and goes, "No, I'm not Termina, nor am I one of the Ravens. But I am someone who is deeply invested in you, my little lamb."
And I mean, I guess who are you then?
I am the Raven Queen, and I see such potential in you.
The rate? What? What? And she just like kind of scrambles and like goes to get down like on her knees or something like that, just unsure of what's going on, but knowing that she probably needs to be reverential to this figure. I just, well, you see potential in me?
Raven Queen continues to laugh in that very kind of sibilant laugh that she was doing earlier as she begins to walk over, her hips rolling, and as she moves, you see echoes of her basically pull in her wake. Every time she moves, an after image freeze frame of a previous movement is stuck in place before slowly dissipating into ethereal black feathers. As she comes over and looks down at you and goes, "Oh, no reason for that, little lamb. Please stand. Let me look at you."
She'll, kind of go to dust off her dress and just stand up. Just realizing now as the Raven Queen has approached her, just the difference in the height. As she has to like crane her neck fully. Like
yeah,
almost like 70 degrees.
Compared to you, she's probably about, 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And is very much towering over you. And putting aside the physical presence, there is just this overwhelming, pressure that emanates from her that makes it feel like she is even larger.
So I guess this isn't a dream, right?
It is more than a dream, but it is as close to reality as such things can be.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, folk legends being what they may, but don't you normally show up to help people? I think I could use some help right now.
She that smile gets just a little bit wider as she looks at you as you said that, and she goes, "Well, who am I to sit back and watch somebody in need needlessly suffer. What kind of help do you need, little lamb?
Well, I guess it's a bit of a long story, but I don't think you really want to hear about the details. So, um, well, I I don't know how much longer I can keep going with what I've got, and I don't think it would really help if I just asked you to give me a lot of money. But so can you help me achieve my dream?
Oh, you wish to have your dreams become a reality?
Well, I think I've put together that it still needs a bit of hard work, but um, y- it would mean the world to me if well, if I was able to make my dream come true of, well, just being a successful artist. I think I've got like a good base for what to do. It's just I just need to be able to, well, have the skills to back it up. I've got a good idea. You can see she's got a, like a little bit of that confidence showing back through. That's kind of been lost since the exam.
Gotcha. Yeah, she looks down at you and goes, if what you need is skills, oh, I can give such things. What is your name, little lamb?
It's Aurora.
As you say that, you see that the blackboard behind her, seemingly, written in chalk, but in a very kind of serrated, carved way, you see the letters of your name appearing along it. She goes, well, Aurora. And as she says it, she seems to really be tasting the letters of the word. I can make a pact with you, and I will give you what you desire, and I will ask for so little in return. Do you want the terms?
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess so. I'm surprised he only wants so little, but I'd be more than willing, with what little I have, I'd be more than willing to give it.
She extends out one of her hands where her nails are these long, almost talon-like lacquered black nails. And her hand really seems to dwarf your head by comparison as she puts it along your cheek and lifts up your chin with her fingernail as she slowly pushes you to your, I would say feet, but to your hooves. As she looks down at you, getting really close to your face. And she says, I will give you the skills to achieve your dreams. I will let you capture every image and experience you see. All talents will be yours, your aspirations set free, but always you must do it. And she whispers into your ear, and leave a piece for me.
And well, those are the terms?
Those are the terms.
I mean, yeah, of course I can give you a piece. That'd be the least I can offer.
She chuckles again and she goes, well then, do you swear to abide by my terms and adhere yourself to my pact?
And she kind of sits there for a moment and thinks of her fathers who put all of their hopes and dreams and funds into getting her to safety, and remembering how she does not feel like she's living up to that still. not living up to the Magister, not living up to her father's expectations, and just softly nods before looking up and directly looking into the Raven Queen's eyes. Yeah, I think I can do this.
And with that, you feel like a tightness kind of, course across your body, as if your muscles are kind of all, tensing up at once. And the Raven Queen will remove her hand from your cheek as she lifts up your hand and takes it in hers, and she goes, "And so it is sealed, and sealed with a kiss." As she kisses your hand, you notice that all of the color drains from it, and it becomes the same kind of black and white grayscale that the rest of this room is, and that the Raven Queen herself is.
She kind of jumps a little bit, and just this, that's a bit different, but that's all right.
Don't worry. A minor sacrifice. But I look forward to seeing all of the beautiful, wonderful things that you capture. I know that you have such potential, and I will give you the skills you need to make it a reality. And don't forget, I will always be watching, and always watching over you.
I think I could use a guardian angel right now, so and she's like, "Oh shit, I should probably be more formal again." Thank you. I will not let you down. I won't.
I know you won't. And I will give you your guardian. And until we meet again. And as she says that, the room begins to just slowly fade out. And as she leans against the desk once more, one finger trailing along the blackboard, along the word Aurora, as she just gives you that big, slightly overly too wide smile. As the rest of it fades away, just that single violet eye looking at you and that white predatory smile are all that remains before you are shaken awake by somebody going, "Aurora, Aurora, it is time to wake up."
Oh, oh, and she kind of gathers herself a bit and sees the desk in front of her. Kind of having drooled a little bit on all the different paints that were kind of there. Oh shit! I fell asleep at the desk again, didn't I?
You are so silly, Aurora. Today is your big portfolio day. Why are you taking a nap right now?
I wasn't taking a nap, Verity. I was just getting a little bit of extra rest. Something was just something was holding my mind a bit, so. But I'm okay, Don't worry about me, dear.
As you look up at Verity, you see, a woman in her 20s. She is a water genasi with, her skin is slightly translucent, where you see these just elaborate network of bioluminescent lights, kind of like a jellyfish and anemone flowing all along her body. Her hair is these very, kind of blowing, or not blowing, kind of flowing in ethereal current tendrils that light up in a seemingly, there's no particular rhyme or reason to how the various bioluminescent energies through it sparkle, but it's always been so endearing. She's wearing a very modern Leonese, basically tunic and pants and high boots. She puts her left arm, on your shoulder, her engagement ring on her ring finger as she kisses the top of your head. Well, I am sure that you are getting all of this rest, but you know that you do not have much more time to prepare before you see the department head.
I know, I know. Something was just kind of eating away at me a little bit, as things tend to do, But it's it's. I appreciate you waking me up. It's always nice to have a little beautiful face to, as the first thing I see in the morning.
She giggles and goes, well, you will continue to see it for the rest of your life, silly.
Oh, and she kind of blushes a little bit. Oh, you always know how to cheer me up.
I will always be here to cheer you up, and don't you ever forget it. And she
I won't.
holds you close and kisses you.
She turns the kiss, very much happy and just the same sort of like girl that you had that has been in these, the little vignettes. This version of her is very much really without a care in the world. She has all the confidence that she could ever need and is just kind of going through life. You can see the what used to be very much like a simple dress, simple like shirts that she would wear, now more so something a bit fancier. She's wearing jewelry, necklaces, and her hair dye is very fresh. um, with all of the different colors being more vibrant than they ever have been. And says, and just kind of looks back over at Verity and just very happily says, now I've got everything that I need here. So all we have to do, or all I have to do, I suppose, all I have to do is just get in there and show them my stuff, which I already know is some of the best work this academy's ever seen. So should be easy. Nothing to worry about in that way.
I respect your confidence, but I guess such things should be expected for one of the best and highest ranked members of the Liberté Academy de Rendition.
I can never say that. It's I understand the dialects that we two both speak are a bit different, but it's I can we just call it the art academy? That's
Of course, Mershari, the Art Academy.
I'm just, as you know, I'm just a little low-born sheep over here, just trying to make my way in the world.
Well, those days are going to be long behind you soon. For once we are married, you'll be with my family, and we shall live a life of in the lap of luxury.
Oh, yeah, we will. It's been like 3.5 years since I met you, dear, and wow, what an amazing 3.5 years it's been, huh?
It feels like it was just yesterday.
Don't go preparing any cakes for me, by the way.
Oh, I had already secured the cake. Should I
Oh,
just throw it in the trash?
don't throw it in the trash if you've already got it. You know me. It's just I like to celebrate after the occasion, but I understand this one's a bit different.
I know. We both know you will pass with flying colors. You will get your patron or whoever is going to, employ you, and it will be just simply a formality.
Right. Right. Of course. And she kind of like that she's smiling but like is turning away, and as she does it kind of turns to a bit of a frown, knowing that she has already tried to get a few patrons but hasn't told Verity, and all have been met with no's. And so this is less so her, you know, just securing this, and more so her trying to push to show that she can do it. and says, "Well, is the party going to be at your folks' place?"
Of course. You know they have the greatest venue in the area.
Yeah. Well, I hope they didn't invite too many. I'd like to keep this a little bit more intimate if we can.
You know how much my parents love you. Of course they would try to make the occasion as special as possible.
Right. Thank you. You're been so amazing to me. This little girl that rolled off the streets.
I would hardly say getting accepted to one of the greatest art academies in all of the Federation, just simply rolling off the streets.
I mean, I did only have like 20 gold left to my name at that point. But we spare you the details. We know, we know.
But I am so proud of you. I never want you to forget it.
Thank you. I She goes to gather the paintings together and puts it in a bag and just looks over, says, "Thank you for coming by. I know my little dorm room's not quite as comfortable, but I'll try and spend the night with you this time instead of falling asleep at my desk like I do."
She uh she walks up to you and she's much taller than you.
Mm-hmm.
So she's probably like 5'10", as she puts one arm around your waist and pulls you close and goes, "I will be waiting with bated breath." As she kisses you. She goes, "I love you, Aurora."
I love you too, Verity. And I think we're going to have a great night tonight, and gives her a little wink for quickly heading out with all of her stuff in tow.
Okay. As you pass through the esteemed halls of the academy, you see just all of the different pictures of famous artists who've come through these halls. Some of them are paintings, others are actual photographs. There are sculptures and busts everywhere. You see various, high-end artists, going about, to and from classes, or practicing their various skills along the campus. As you head to the main administration hall, where you will meet with the head of your department, the director Elaine Laurent. And people always kind of look at you and they wave and say like, "Hi, Aurora." "Oh, that's Aurora. You hear she's top of the class. They say she's one of the greatest artists to come through here in a generation. You know, how can she be able to weave so many styles together so seamlessly, etc."
She's very proud as she kind of walks through the the sort of recognition that she may have felt like she always deserved being hers in this situation, and just kind of just holds her head up high, which is not very high, and just kind of gives all the passersby that are like that she hears talking behind her back, and just says, "I can hear you," and just gives them a little like a winks and such as she continues to skip on by.
Um, as she skips on by, she eventually gets into the administration area and the big office that has, written in gold, filigree, Alain Lauren, director of art.
All right. And she kind of like before the door, just kind of hyping herself up a little bit. The memory of the High Magister a bit fresher in her mind after all the different dreams that she had. Okay. They know what I can do. They know everything. This isn't the same. Just gotta get in there and wow them as always. All right. And just kind of goes ahead and walks through with the same sort of charisma that she's had for all of her time walking through campus.
Wonderful. As you go in, there's a big desk in the center, and there's lots of various papers and more art strewn about the walls, including a big like full body piece of a kenku male in basically like fine robes and spectacles, like standing in front of a fireplace, like very much like one of those Louis XIV style poses, except he's a small black bird.
Just she'll just kind of nod to it and go, Lauren.
um, you see him kind of look up from his desk, where his head kind of bobs to the side a couple times as he takes off his spectacles for a moment and goes, "Ah, Aurora, it is good to see you again. It has been too long, but I am happy to finally have you here for your portfolio showing."
Well, I mean, as my advisor, I'd hope we could talk a bit more, but things have been pretty busy given, well, how close to the finish line we are.
Yes, it has been such wonders being able to see you here for all these years, and you've done so well for yourself. You've been really the talk of the entire department. I am so thankful that I was assigned as your advisor, and now I will be able to guide you through the final processes as you begin to graduate.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it too.
Now, my my little heart is beating too much. Let me see the portfolio that you have assembled of your wondrous works that we can show, that will display your prowess for the community. And he kind of claps his little feathered hands together as he hops out of his big chair onto the ground and moves around his desk. He's about your height. He's a bit shorter.
Yeah.
But
So
he looks with glittering black eyes.
she'll kind of take take like a few separate stands and go ahead and get three of them paired up and just ready for the portraits. And so as she goes, she takes them out each one by one, placing them onto the stands, and then kind of sits there for a moment and just goes like it does a little like jazz hands of like da don't worry, I'll explain them a bit. Um, well, as you know, from all my experiences, I have a well, I like to show the world for as real of a depiction as I can. So what I've put together here for you is the different scenarios that have meant the most to me. And so this first one here, you can see it's it's the streets of our fair city here, but it's got a bunch of the Iryxian refugees from the wartime just hanging their heads and all animated, as my technique is wanton to do, to display their emotions at their very core. And I'm very proud of this one, considering this was, well, as you know, very near and dear to my heart. Something that I had personally experienced before coming to this fine school here. This second one here is a bit more back in my hometown, and it's a drawing of the different Iryxian caskets being delivered to the different homes. Um, with different homes having their doors be knocked on. It's almost like a little like 15-minute picture show. Or if not 15-minute, 15-second picture show.
It's like, but damn, this is
Yeah,
a long ass fucking picture show.
Just kind of going through all the different moments and the different emotions of soldiers returning home, soldiers not returning home, and everything. Very much showing the depths of the emotion. And then finally, the third piece is the swaying of a boat with all the different people that, once again, of the refugees coming across and out of Iryxia to the UFAS in order to demonstrate just, the depths of despair that war brings and how it can, well, damage people and everything like that. And so she just kind of explains this is a, as you know, these are all very, very personal to me, but I felt like for something as important as this, I wanted to get my soul on the paper, on the canvas. And so, well, I mean, not to sound too overly confident, but these are, well, without a doubt, the best work I've ever put together. And she's not lying. These are immaculate. Compared to the drawing that she had before with the High Magister, these have impeccable craftsmanship. The strokes and everything very much look and feel like that of a master. And just kind of takes a second and just kind of gives a big smile and then says, "Well, that's what I got."
Elaine kind of looks at the different pictures and he's kind of clicking, like doing this clicking chirp, which you know is kind of like a nervous tick of his. Um, these are very, very exquisitely done, Aurora. I will say that. I'm curious. Do you have any more conventional pieces?
Well, I mean, yeah, but yeah, I paint things all the time, but wouldn't we want to? Art's meant to like change people, to make them feel things. And well, I don't think it really gets much better than this. Do you think I've got other pieces that are better than this?
Well, I'm not disputing the skills that went into this. I'm concerned about the practicality. You're approaching graduation and you still haven't gotten a patron, nor have you been hired by one of the corporations for marketing or other pursuits. I'm concerned that these might be too avant-garde for such endeavors. But perhaps if you were to provide some portraiture, as that is generally the preferred medium for many of these patrons, and I'm sure that we will be able to line you up with somebody very suitable, and who will, of course, love the excellent work you put into every one of your pieces.
Um, well, I mean, yeah, of course I could just do portraits, but that's not. I mean, these people have portraits already. They don't. They don't have anything like this. This is something special. I.
Be that as it may, you must be aware that these people don't want to see pictures of sad refugees. The war is. They want to forget about the war. They want to move on. You know, this is the kind of thing you'd see it like if you were doing a documentary or a newspaper article that's not worthy of your skills, or frankly it's unmarketable at best.
She's like mouth agape at him. Just says, I mean, I've done pieces like this for you all the frickin' time. And you've told me these are some of the most amazing pieces you've ever experienced. And you telling me that I can just like that's not good enough? And that I just need to like lower myself to the standards of these big wig noble bullshit people?
Well,
That's not how I work. You know that.
Aurora, these are artistically very skilled. I'm telling you, you have to be considering your future. You have to consider what life you will have after school. You won't be employed by anybody. Nobody wants to hire somebody to create these. They want their self-aggrandizement. They want to be sold something. You have to display to them those kind of skills, and I know that you will make plenty of money and you'll get anything you desire. You just have to be able to produce what the people want.
Well, I've tried, okay? I have tried to present these to a few nobles, and they've all given me the exact same bullshit you're now feeding me. That they just want to see themselves as the most important people in the world. But that's just not how life is. And I'm not about to flanderize myself and to sell myself as some sort of marketing tool. Work too damn hard for that. At, I thought you of all would understand the importance of art for art,
You have to
not
be
just
practical, Aurora. Art is only as useful as the artist who can create it. If you find yourself destitute, no one will ever see things like this. You have to be able to swallow your pride to produce the things that people want, and then when you have your time, you can be able to produce all of these works to send your message across.
she'll kind of stand there for a moment. Still can't give people what they want, I guess.
Now, if you feel like coming back with a more conventionally tailored portfolio, I'm sure we can arrange something proper. I know several patrons who've been chomping at the bit for the opportunity to be able to interview you for potential personal hire. This is not going to get you anywhere, Aurora.
She'll just kind of take the portraits, or not the portraits, the paintings. Very important distinction.
Yep.
Take the paintings, kind of gather them back together, and just start to walk out of the hall.
Aurora, you've got to understand. I'm just trying to help you here.
Oh, I know. I know. Had a lot of teachers in my time here and before. I just never mind. And she'll just walk out.
Yeah. And he just kind of gets to the door as you walk out and just goes, I know we can help you achieve your potential. You have such great talents. We just have to be able to apply it the way that people want. And as you ignore him, he will eventually close the door, shaking his head.
She'll just probably, honestly, leave the paintings there. Like, she'll just kind of like put them on a bench and just leave them there and kind of storm away. And first things, she would probably go back to her room, even though she knows that's not where she's supposed to go, and just kind of sit there for a moment, tapping her feet very rapidly, holding a little fidget toy and just kind of like stressfully squeezing it as hard as she possibly can over and over again. And still, I just have to use my potential in a way that people want to experience. Just like the Archmagister said. Thought I'd gotten past this, but I guess not. And she just kind of sits there for a bit and looks at the time. Sees that she's kind of to be expected at the Fontaine house in about 15 minutes, and it's about a 30-minute walk away. Says, shit. How am I going to explain this to her? Okay, we'll think about that on the way there, and just start to make her way to the Fontaine household to meet Verity.
Okay. As you arrive 15 minutes late, the staff of her family's mansion, let you in and don't say anything about your tardiness as you enter like what is the equivalent of like a living room guest area, and Verity is wearing a long slinky dress. Her tendrils have been like restrained in a like a flowing ponytail, a single strand running along the side of her face, as the sequins in the dress basically channel and reflect the various energies coursing through her. You see maybe, I don't know, a dozen or so people present. She at least did something to try and reduce the amount to to be attending this, but some of them, you notice her parents have been, talking a bit peeved as she then perks up as she sees you as she's holding two glasses of champagne. She goes, Aurora, welcome. I was worried about you.
I just got a little preoccupied on the talking to the professor, and made a stop back by my place. So, but yeah, no, I'm sorry for my tardiness, and gestures to Verity's parents, and just says, I just had to make sure that everything was doing all right. So you know how it goes.
Of course, I'd love to hear everything about it.
Yeah. Do we have like 15 minutes before dinner? I wanted to talk to you about something.
She kind of looks over to parents for a moment, and the dad kind of rolls his eyes and nods as she then looks at you and goes, um, yeah, we can be pulled aside for a moment. This is your special day after all.
Yeah. No, yeah. Thank you. And thank you both as well. Uh, I will be back with your daughter in just a few minutes, I promise.
They nod as you go into a side room, and Verity kind of stands and goes, what is it? Why the secrecy all of a sudden?
I mean, I just. And there's like a noticeable frustration in how she's doing this. Like she's been thinking about how to approach the subject and is just still upset. They said I needed to apply myself in a more marketable way, and that nobody wants what I make. They want to see themselves. All that bullshit. So, still same situation as we were in before,
So,
if not worse.
so you're saying they did not approve of your portfolio?
No. He said I should try doing more portraits of rich people, because that's what they want from a patron, or from a patronee.
Well, then it is no matter. Just pump out some portraits. If that's all it takes.
I know, it's so simple. Just stop being so proud and just put myself on their level and just pump out some portraits. Of course, of course. You know I hate it.
I know, but this is just life. It's just these simple things we have to go to. My father can line you up with a portrait in no time. Line you up with a patron in no time. Just
I
gets a
don't
few, we can circumvent Mr. Lauren and go straight to someone else, and I could have you hired tomorrow.
I don't I, I've spent so much of my life getting the easy way out, thanks to the support of those I care about. And I thought I was past that. I did. But I just, I gotta do this for myself. And if no one here even wants me, well, then I guess I'm not welcome here. And I know your parents could set me up, no problem, easy peasy. I know even they could be the ones. But this is something I gotta prove to myself, that what I have is good enough to make it in this world, and without sacrificing what I am for what other people want me to be. You know, Verity, I love you, but we came from very different circumstances. I don't think I don't think you understand what it's like.
Aurora, this is... I feel like you are making a bigger deal out of all of this than it is. We are talking
You
about the future here. Just do what they want. You can make all the money and that you could ever desire, and then you could be able to produce the things that you desire.
She'll kind of sit there for a moment, that gritting her teeth a bit. I spent my entire childhood being told that I was wasting my life by pursuing my art, that my magic would be better suited for killing people, serving my country, and all that bullshit. And after I failed my examination to become a magister, and I had to run away, I thought I had escaped that hell when I made it here and got accepted to this university. I thought I had escaped that. And for a while, it felt like I did. Everyone loved me. I thought I was an incredible artist, and I felt so high. I met amazing people, and I fell in love. But this world, it's no different from the one that I left. I'm still powerless in the hands of the powerful, forced to create what others want. Like creating these damn gaudy portraits of the high society so that they can feel like their lives are worth a damn. And these people disgust me. These people who stood by while my home was massacred and destroyed for their benefit, to feed their greed and line their pockets, can't work for them and I won't work for them. I would rather live an impoverished existence like I did with my family than serve the greed and the pomp and the trash that seem to be the dream of so many people here. This can't be what my dream amounts to. I've worked too damn hard to let myself settle for this. Society and me, we don't fit together. I can't do this like you do, Verity. She'll
Verity,
kind
sorry,
Go
you
ahead.
first.
No, you go ahead. I'll
Yeah.
finish after.
Verity looks genuinely hurt by all of this. As she looks at you, goes, Aurora, these people are my family. This is the people that you've just spent so much time talking about how you hate them and everything they have done. This is who I am. This is what you think of me?
Oh no, I know that your family are a bit different than that. Or else I don't think I'd be here right now. I just I gotta be able to prove it to myself that I can make it on my own. That I can finally be worth a damn by just being me.
Aurora, you are worth it. Despite what you may think, you have a life, you have talent, you have everything. What is being asked is for simply for you to swallow your pride long enough that you do the time it takes to be able to create the things you desire. Why must you vent these frustrations upon me, upon our whole life?
I don't know. There's just this part of me that's screaming. Says this can't be it. And I don't think I'm ready to settle just yet. I, I wanna prove it. I wanna make it on my own and I'll come back. I can't do this shit anymore. And I'll prove that people like us can make it outside of what society wants from us.
You would rather leave me than swallow your pride for just a little bit? Is that all it matters to you?
She is like very much tearing up a bit. This, I I didn't think you would understand, but I just wanted to try. This has been eating me for a little while now. So, well, here we are. Shit. I know I'm probably making a mistake, but well, then again, that's what I've been doing all my life. So, what's one more? If you can find it in your heart, wait a bit. Maybe I'll come back with my pride swallowed, but I just want to. I can't be here anymore. I can't do this high society shit anymore.
Well, you don't have to go. You don't have to do this. You don't have to forget or throw away everything we have because of your stupid fucking pride. I love you, Aurora. Don't just let that fade away.
I'm not gonna. It's not that often something like this happens. So, I know it's very vain of me to ask, but just I'll write you. Send you nice pictures. But once I get the ability to make this happen, prove that I'm right, if you'll still have me, then yeah.
Cannot fucking believe you. After everything, you're just trying to prove you're right. And she goes, I am not some consolation prize along the path of you proving the people that you grew up with wrong. I love you, Aurora. I am willing to give you the world. I am willing to give you money, status, anything that matters just to have you in my life. And you just want to walk away? Like it doesn't even fucking matter? Feel free to write your letters. I don't know if I will read them.
I understand. I get it. And I'm sorry.
She takes off her engagement ring, just throws it against a wall. Go. This party is simply going to surround you with the people you hate.
All right. She'll just. I won't disgrace myself with a presence beyond this. And she'll just do what she did before, create a little portal, and dip out.
As she steps through the portal, the last thing she hears is Verity weeping as the portal closes behind her, and she feels a close presence wrap itself around her tightly in a comforting embrace in the moment where she feels most alone, having turned her back on her fiance and the whole life that was promised for her. And in that moment, just a pair of violet eyes come looking out of the shadow wrapping around you, and you don't feel so alone anymore. Any last words, Aurora?
She'll just kind of go to like hold the presents. Just say, well, just you and me for now. We'll be all right.
And with that, the scene begins to melt away into paint and colors until you can't even understand what was even being shown. And with that, we come to the conclusion of Aurora's origin. Is that correct, Lily?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Jeez Louise.
Oh my god.
Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed that.
Quite the way to start it off, huh?
Yep, we're going strong. We got Trauma Sheep in here. But yeah, that is the origin. That's the first of our origin sessions with Lily and her Satyr Wizard Aurora. Next up, we'll be introducing Maris and Soleil. So stay tuned for that one. Let's see on the 1 to absolute collapse of your life that one pulls off. Thank you so much, Lily, for doing this. I hope you had fun, all things considered.
I very much did. That was some very intimate role play.
Some real one-on-one.
Yeah.
And with that, I appreciate you being here, and I hope everyone has a good night. Until next time, bye.